course, many people are unhappy with their jobs, but it's often hard to pinpoint the reasons why. It may be a bad manager, boring tasks, or a stressful workload, but it may also be something deeper. In her new book, NYU psychology professor Dr. Tessa West explores how to find fulfillment in your job or find a new one. The name of the book, Job Therapy: Finding Work That Works for You. Dr. West joins us now. Thanks for being with us.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So you start by saying that it's not good enough to just say, oh, I'm unhappy at work. You got to dive into the specific reason why.
That's right. I think most of us are very structurally oriented when it comes to thinking about what we want that's new at work. We think about working from home or how much money we want to make, but we don't take a moment to kind of stop and think, what are the real psychological triggers that I'm experiencing at work? Am I maybe in love with a career that isn't loving me back? Or have I fallen out of love with this thing that I used to recognize and I no longer do? So job therapy is all about kind of digging deep into that psychological starting point to help you on your journey.
You said you interviewed a whole bunch of people, and you said, I mean, it was thousands. You said quarter of the people, 1/4, regretted taking a new job. Now, I mean, don't you kind of know what you're applying for? That's surprising to me. What was the big takeaway there?
Yeah, I think it is really surprising. I think a lot of us interview for jobs. We don't know what we're getting into. And the interview process isn't exactly transparent. People do not tell you exactly what your roles are going to be taking on a new job. In fact, one of the biggest surprises I found in this book is that people are handed all kinds of tasks and jobs that they didn't actually apply for. So you really do have to kind of treat the interview like a first date, really dig deep to kind of figure out, what is this job looking like? Did my hiring manager even see the job, interview, or were they even part of the application process? Questions like that can help you close those communication gaps so you don't wind up in a job that doesn't actually fit you.
Yeah, but bottom line, for more than 1/4 of the people you interviewed, the grass was not greener on the other side.
Definitely not greener. Yeah.
So when you're looking at things perhaps outside of your control, like you've got a bad boss or perhaps you're undercompensated, if those things are not within your power to fix, does that mean leave?
I think it's a really good question. I think first you want to know who you're actually being compared to. Most of us don't understand, who we have lost out to a promotion or raise to. And so before you leave, you want to actually figure out what I call like your social comparison group. Who are these people that are getting these things? If you are the target of a bad boss, is it just you or is it something systematic? And you want the answers to those questions before you jump into a new job so that you don't just run into the same problems again. I think a lot of us assume that bosses are going to be nicer elsewhere, but rarely that's actually the case. We need to do a lot of networking to kind of figure out what are the bosses like in these other jobs, and also to figure out what are those promotion opportunities. Are they going to kind of wave a flag that isn't actually very realistic? So kind of digging deep and playing detective to figure out answers to those questions before you leave.
You also interviewed about 1,500 recruiters, and I'm curious, what if they found like one thing that people always do, like, they're bad in interviews, or when they find that bosses are saying they're not doing what they said they'd do? What is their biggest complaint?
Their biggest complaint is that people do not submit job materials that are specific to that job. They are applying to a lot of jobs at once, and so the resumes are not tailored to the particular job. The past experiences and roles you've had aren't spoken about in language that's relevant for that job. And people are never using cover letters anymore, which is something that we all used to do and is really important to communicating not just your interest in a job, but fit. So that was by far the biggest complaint I heard from recruiters and also hiring managers. Make those materials specific to the job that you're applying for.
But we all want to feel special. We all want to feel like, oh, we're great and the boss should love us. Any tips for perhaps assessing your real value in a workplace, or what people actually think about you and whether or not you're really as great as you think you are?
Yeah, I think a lot of us struggle with this. Clear communication, honest feedback is really critical. You can't kind of jump into that, if you haven't had those conversations before. So the single smallest piece of advice I would give people is ask for feedback at work all the time and ask for what I call bite-sized feedback. What did you think of my presentation? How is my, resume looking in terms of how I've ordered things? How was that call with the client? Specific feedback where people can feel comfortable giving you critical things that you can do to improve, but they're not so kind of big and scary that you're going to feel really threatened by that feedback and want to shut down. Keep up that feedback muscle, asking for that type of feedback. And if you're a manager, you also want to ask that feedback from people who report to you. So the better you get at this, the easier it is to ask those tough questions like, why wasn't I promoted, or why didn't I get a raise?
All right, the book is Job Therapy: Finding Work That Works for You. For more, you can check out Tessa's website. Follow her on Instagram. Thank you.
Thank you.